We are doing conversations with ladies who launch with the beautiful Nicola Moras. She is an online visibility coach, and I've been watching her for ages, and it's going to be a super fun combo. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. So exciting.
So my sneaky first question is, how would you introduce yourself if you were to do it in the way that you would like clients to be speaking about you?
I love this question. So my favorite thing to say is things like, so my name is Nicola and I love what I do. What I do is I put my fingers inside of people's brains and help pull out all of the stuff, the knowledge, these really cool ideas that they can turn into really fabulous marketing, really like basically make money, get themselves out there and change the world. That's what I do.
Love it. Love it. So cool. So cool. And how long have you been in business, my dear? Long time.
11 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So in these conversations, I love to kind of peel back the layers and open the curtains behind people's businesses and talk about launching business, what it looked like for you previously, what it looks like for you today. So how did you start launching? What did launching look like for you in the early days? Potentially you didn't even call it launching.
We didn't call it launching, but it's funnily really quite similar to how we still do it now. So back in 2010, the way that I was getting clients, I was putting posts up on Facebook saying, hey, do you have this problem? And I was doing discovery sessions, and I was calling them, like at the time it was style, really revolving around style and branding. So personal style, personal branding. So I was calling it a style recovery session, or a style discovery session, a personal brand discovery session, those types of things. And I was literally just posting up on Facebook. I would post on my page saying, hey, is this what you're experiencing? Let's have a chat for 30 minutes, and you'll either, one of two things will happen. You'll either walk away with your plan of what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to, leverage this within yourself, or you'll say, Nick, I want some help. How can you help me? And that's what I did. So literally pretty much the same thing, except I don't do the discovery sessions anymore. So it was still always going out there, posing the problem, talking about the goals online, like with what people might want or the problems that they had, and then providing a solution, but very much using the visibility on the platforms, on my page and my personal profile to kind of come in that way. So that was how I first started.
And what does it look like for you now?
Right now, I don't do the discovery sessions unless I've launched like a high level thing and I'm doing it by application only. Then I'll get people to put in an application, then we'll have a chat, because high level thing is usually a much bigger investment than $100 for a course or something like that. And there's also a bigger time commitment in terms of, like, we might be working together for 6 or 12 months, and I want to make sure that it's the right fit and that we're going to gel and that we can jam and all that kind of stuff. So nowadays what we do is, it's still posting on Facebook. We've got Instagram, but we didn't have back in the day. So Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I'm kind of popping things up in there. So it's driving people, and ads, obviously, driving people through posts that are talking about, either overtly or covertly, what we're offering at the time, getting them across to a sales page, and then converting that way. But concurrently, there's always value going out as well, so that even in the midst of a launch, it's not just buy my shit. It's all the other stuff that's going on as well.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you ever do webinars, workshop type things? Or I know that you've also got your video series that you do a live every day, don't you?
Do most days. I can't in all good conscience say every day, because I don't do them on weekends. And Some days I'm just
but you're about the most consistent person I know online who does them most days.
Most days. I think we're at episode 605 today. 606 for the coffee run, and that's not including the other little series and stuff that I've done kind of along the way. So
yeah, that's super cool. And how do you like, out of interest, how do you structure that coffee run? Like, is it just whatever's on your mind? Is it always different? Like, what, I mean, I'm sure it's always different, but
I just say the same thing every day for 606 days. Well, I say that like poking fun a little bit, but it's not, but it's kind of true, actually. I mean, there are 4 main reasons that people's marketing don't work. And if we're talking about visibility is marketing yourself, right? Is you're not putting yourself out there because you don't have the confidence. You're putting yourself out there and you're not getting any traction because you don't know who your audience is. You are not putting yourself out there, or you're not cutting through the noise because you're not leveraging your personality and who you are. You're trying to fit in and be like someone else, or you're not consistent enough. You know, they're the 4 main things, right, that I've been addressing for 11 years. So it's not always, it's always different, but it all revolves around the core problems that people have. And so for me, the way that I do the coffee runs, usually I will be inspired by like something like this, for example. It might be a conversation that we have and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I have to talk about that. So I might go live today and say, oh, I had this interview with Anthea. It was really all this conversation with Anthea. It was really amazing. These are some of the key things that came out of it. You know, what are you guys doing? What do you think? What are you coming up against? So I'll use conversations as the inspiration. Other times I'm very, I kind of dance. It's funny. A client actually said to me, I'm very like pragmatic, but I don't know how to say that in a better sentence, but she's like, you know, I'm very structured. So I can be very pragmatic, but then I also dance a lot in this other side as well, like in the more intuitive side.
Yeah. And go based on your energy of the day and what conversations you've had and stuff. Yeah,
that's right. So, but then the structure side of me, like I'm not sure if you saw online, I mentioned last week, I had a week where I didn't do a coffee run at all. I didn't go live for the whole week. And I came in last week. I know. I felt really bad. I felt awful. But on the Monday, I came in and I said, look, you guys, you know, I couldn't, I was in such a state of flux in my own head that I've got structure coming out of the wazoo, right? And I'm usually incredibly inspired most days to just, you know, come up with something. And I'm like, we'd just come out of lockdown, or we were still in lockdown at the time. Like, so this is maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was exhausted.
Nicholas in Victoria, she's had a lot of lockdown for anyone and anyone listening and new to Nicola's world.
Victorians, I feel your pain. Everyone else at the minute, I feel your pain as well. But you know, it's just,
and overseas people, let's not forget about them.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, what a crazy world we're living in. But it got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling inspired. My structure, I don't even want to look at my structure. I'm exhausted. It was like all of this kind of like, I like COVID fatigue and lockdown fatigue and uncertainty fatigue is a thing. And I just like, well, I can either push myself and deliver something because, you know, I've said everybody, I'm going to be there every day and deliver something that would probably be substandard, or just go, you know what, I'm not the person to usually succumb to, you know, feelings of, I don't feel like it. But it was just like, you know what, I just need to not. So sometimes I suppose where I'm going with that, like sometimes the frameworks aren't enough to kind of push you through depending on some of these external factors that are going on. But usually in a normal scenario, I'll go, all right, well, I'm not feeling inspired. I'll show you this. I'll show you what I use. Hang on.
Yes.
I didn't know what we were going to talk about. So, but this is, I use this the other day. So
I've seen this before on one of your coffee runs.
Right. So this is my Web of Awesome. So most days, if I'm, Or if I'm feeling sometime like, oh my God, I just don't feel like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, I'll just go, okay, let's have a look at this. And I'll pick something off here, because on here I've got my basic 4-step structure that I pull people through, and then how I then break that down further. And then I've got all of people's problems all around over here and what they want. So I can just kind of go, all right, today I might like to talk about imposter syndrome. Let's talk about that. Or I might want to talk about the doubt that most of us have, which is, am I really good enough? Or I might go, all right, how do I leverage peak performance? Or I might talk about niche, which is, up in that quadrant. So
that's amazing.
Is my thing.
And do you, because I know that I've experienced this before, where I've got a little bit of I'm not much of a perfectionist, but I do have like that web of awesome is amazing, because I can imagine for me so many times I'm like, oh, what am I going to talk about today? And there's so much to talk about that it's kind of overwhelming. But then my little perfectionist part of me would be like, but what if you kept picking the same thing each time? Like, how do you know? Do you give it a little tick so that you've talked about that 6 times, or how do you?
It's really good. There's another little tool that I have, which you've probably seen as well, which is free, by the way. So not trying to sell anything.
No, you totally can sell. we totally
adding value. So on here, my content map, which has been given away for free, like the PDF version is being given away for free for like nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
Via lead magnets and stuff like that. So on here, I've got the 4 quadrants that are on my Web of Awesome, just broken up. So I've got like each quarter, and then each month, and then each week. So I kind of allocated them in a logical order to where I might talk about things.
I love that. You've got both.
Got both.
You've got the structure to make sure that you're covering everything off, and then you've got the inspiration board that just covers off not knowing what to talk about today.
Exactly. So for me, it kind of feels like I have a high need for variety. So it's kind of fuels my. It's not really variety. It's like this. It's like a variety, meeting my need for variety hack, where I can go, well, I don't feel like following the content map thing today. I'm going to follow the Web of Awesome thing today. Or if I happen to have not spoken to somebody, like a client, or that had this kind of conversation or whatever for a day or something like that, then at least I can go, okay, I'm not feeling inspired with what's coming up for me or from conversations. So I've got safety nets in place so that.
That's so much. I love the safety nets conversation, because I think so many times people beat themselves up about it because they've got this content plan, and then they've got this rebellious part of themselves that doesn't want to follow it. Exactly.
And it's like,
and I totally, that is so me as well. And so I often talk to my clients about building that into the plan, like
exactly,
flexibility into the plan. You haven't deviated from the plan if the plan is to change the plan whenever you feel like you need to change the plan.
But I think that, the thing, and I'm sure that your clients would feel like this as well. So long as your overall key message is being addressed, then, you don't know that I had my content map and that in month 3 of quarter 4, week 1, I was supposed to be talking about the bravery barometer. So, on that day when I didn't. Nicola, you didn't talk about the bravery barometer. Like you don't even know that. But the overall message of everything that I'm talking about, like I'm all about visibility and, being yourself. So long as not anything and everything that I'm talking about rolls up somehow, some way into that concept, then that's what's
good. You're good. Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much. And for anyone who's watching, I will grab the freebie link off Nicola later and add it to this convo. So you'll totally be able to get that. So I'm just looking at my sneaky questions because that was so good. I've totally lost track of where we are.
Sorry.
No, it was amazing. Not sorry. And okay. So I love to hear about like the easy bits and the hard bits with regards to business and launching, so that we're peeling back the layers and showing people what it's really like. Can you think of a time recently where you felt ease in your business, and what did that look like?
Yeah. So ease looks for me like it's just like when I come from a place of flow. So it's always where I've got structure and then the flow bit. So if I haven't got the structure bit, I find it hard to be in flow. If I'm only ever trying to get flow, or, you know, if I haven't got the structure underneath it, it just doesn't seem to work. So I know for me, even if I might plot in a day, for example, like 3 dot points for something that I'm going to talk about. Like that's the thing for me that helps me access the flow state. Like I didn't know the questions we were going to talk about today, but this is easy for me.
Yes.
I was like, great, cool.
Yeah. Where's my ball?
Throw anything at me. What are we talking about? This would be rad. And I think that for me, the thing that I've always, the thing that I find easy, and when things are easier, is when I'm doing things in the way that I want to do them, and I'm talking to the people and working with the people who are freaking amazing, and, you know, things don't feel forced. It can still be hard work, like hard work and flow are not like two separate things.
Yeah. It's like you can still be committed and taking action to a thing that feels easy. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, you know, that for me, I find it really, I'm in flow when I'm writing, when I'm journaling, when I'm coming up with ideas for courses, when I'm coaching, when I'm delivering. It's like most of my business is me now in that just in that state of ease most of the time. The thing that I find hard is, which I'm guessing is your next question.
Totally next question. What do you find hard in your business?
The thing that I find hard is when I can't do things in the way that I want them. So Visible Live, for example, Visible Live, I was supposed to be on a national tour a couple of weeks ago, which is where I had that really awful week where I'm like, I'm not actually going to go live because I don't feel like I've got anything of value to say. I'm just going to bitch and moan about how much I hate living in Victoria and the country and blah, blah, blah. You know, so that the things that I find hard is not so much, it's not the work. Sometimes it's the removal of choice, or feeling like I've not got the choice to do things in the way that I want. I love being in a room with people, and the last 18 months I've been in a room once with clients, and that was in April this year, where we just managed to wing it in between, like skin of our teeth between Queensland lockdowns and Victoria lockdown. Like it was just like this perfect little pocket of time. You know, that's the stuff that I find it's really hard to plan, and I can sometimes that can just become a bit overwhelming and anxiety creating. But outside of that, the only other thing that I find hard is not the right word, but it's kind of like if I'm just going through the motions, and if things are really mechanical. So what I'm thinking, like with launching, how this relates to launching. So usually with launching, we've got my paid marketing.
Yep.
And then there's the organic marketing.
Yep.
And then there's the free marketing. So there's 3 different things. The ads are generally really easy. They just kind of take care of themselves, and you do whatever. The organic marketing is, for me, the way I look at that is like the coffee run. So like when I'm rolling through that and I'm feeling inspired and I love what I'm creating or what I'm selling at the time or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, you know, this is really awesome. It's really cool. I find that easy. The stuff that I find a bit harder is like, all right, I've got to go and tick off 10 free marketing activities today. Let's go through the motions, because it just feels very mechanical and very, I still do it, but it's not stuff that lights
And
me
so
up.
what kind of activities are they, like when you're posting about your services in other groups, that kind of thing? Or
I don't do that, but it's more like on my page. If I haven't got stuff that's been scheduled, for example, so I believe that we should, my personal philosophy around marketing in general is that you should have at least a 5-to-1 ratio. So 5 pieces of value, 1 call to action. So, and we know, even though we're doing visibility work, we know how hard it is to get in front of our clients' eyeballs or our prospective clients' eyeballs through a news feed. They just, it's our organic reach and our paid reach is getting more expensive. Organic reach is getting harder to hit. So we've got to increase our visibility to try and get the eyeballs on our stuff. So the 5-to-1 ratio, 5 pieces of value, 1 piece of, I've got this course that's really freaking awesome. You should totally buy it. You've got rocks in your head if you don't, type thing, right? Very overt. So the thing that I just find that a little bit taxing is kind of going, all right, like I know logically that I have to go through and do this, and I know I have to do it, but it's just like, sometimes I just don't want to. I just want to be like, you know what, this is awesome. You should just buy it. And then the next thing I want to say is like, this is awesome. You should just be in it. I don't know why you're not. Come on, people.
Just buy it.
Right. This is awesome. What's wrong with you? But usually, you know, that's I will go out and say that sometimes, just, you know, a bit tongue in cheek, like, this is a no-brainer. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Why haven't you put this yet? So I find that stuff hard. The only other thing that around like the launching conversation thing that I find hard, and this is generally what I find hard in business, is if I've got sometimes I'll have a long launch, and a long launch for me is like 3 weeks. Like that feels like an eternity. And what that means for me is like every day for 21 days, forget the paid marketing. But I know that I have to be talking about this particular program for 21 days, which is okay in the, you know, and then chucking in with the value and all that sort of stuff. But the thing that I find hard is if no one has bought for like in the first 10 days, because most people I've been doing this for a long time, so I know how people behave. Most people buy at the last minute. Now, if you're watching this and you're a last minute buyer, I love you, but I hate you, but I love you. So it's just like,
totally.
You know, it can be really hard. I'm a huge fan of external validation. So, you know, like to go 10 days or 7 days in a 3-week launch where no one has bought, sometimes it can really get in your head. And with what's wrong with it? Maybe I'm done. You know, it's all of those gremlins can fly up. And so for me, I have to make sure that I know, if I know that about myself and I know that about that launch period, then I just have to make sure that I'm going through and doing the things that need to be done, trust the process. There's always a reason I launch a course, and it's usually this is going to sound really silly, but it's true. It's like this intuitive download that has come through and come out of my journal, which is how I create my courses. It's just like I'm normally writing stuff and I'm like, oh wow, this would be really cool, like this would be fun, what should we call it, what should we price it, you know, and go through that process, and then within usually 48 hours it's revealed to the world. But sometimes it's like knowing that, all right, sometimes you've got to get through the first 7 to 10 days of self-doubt and all of that to go, you know what, it doesn't mean anything, just keep going. and then really work the timeline and really work the process. And that sometimes I find a little bit, it's constantly managing my own set of expectations and managing my head and knowing how people behave and reminding myself it's not necessarily about, sometimes it's about me, but most of the time it's not about me.
And I love that. And I just think that like the more women in business at all different levels of business that I talk to, it's a real thing. And that's why I want to talk about it. Because it reminds all of us that it's a real thing and we need to support ourselves through that 10 days of no buying. I once had this client who was getting very in touch with her like higher higher self, inner wisdom, you know, etc., through my hypnosis and really doing stuff that felt aligned to her. And she came up with this idea. She was like, I'm not going to have a close date because that feels a bit too salesy, etc., etc. So she did this experiment where she didn't have a close date, and everybody just was like, when is it closing? They all just wanted a close date. And
because they wanted to know when the last minute was.
Exactly. But it was this super cool experiment that I got to witness, in that I was like, right, okay, it's not even a salesy thing. It's like people just want to know when they need to buy by.
Well, people need boundaries. Like, we like boundaries. We like to know, all right, well, if I've got 2 weeks to make a decision, I've got 2 weeks to make a decision. Most people want to know the rules of the game. So if there's something that's not the norm, it's like, well, hang on a second, this is weird. What's wrong with this? So
it's a little bit like the COVID lockdown decisions, like, you know, that period before when they're locking you down or they're not locking you down, and you're working out, can I go or should I go or whatever, and you just feel better having made the decision as per the rules. It doesn't, like, there's that thing that happens within me that I'm like, I don't really care if I don't have to, like, if I don't get to
just
go.
need to know.
Need to know whether I'm going or not.
So we can make plans, and I think this comes back to, you know, one of our core needs is certainty, right? And so if we know what's coming, or we know what's not coming, or if we know we can go, we know we can't go, if we know when the card is closing, or, you know, if it's an early bird, when that ends, so that you can make decisions. Because when we can't make decisions, that's where if people are in flux, they don't decide. They make that, well, they do actually. They make the decision to not make a decision.
Yes.
And then they toddle off and get distracted because there's something else that's come through their feed or come into their awareness, or another issue or another fire that they have to put out, or, you know, whatever happens. So yeah.
And so what do you think when you're launching something, what have been the best supports for you? Either other people, systems, mindset, practical strategy, whatever it is for you, what have been the best supports?
For me, checklists. Again, you know, this is that pragmatic thing. I'm very driven by fly by the seat of my pants. What do I feel like doing? But I also very much need that structure. And I think part of that is because I have the tendency to get distracted quite easily. And I can get in and then I can also get in my head a little bit. So for me, having something to follow and having that checklist, it's a bit of that love-hate thing. Having a checklist that I can go through is really helpful. The other thing that I have that I really, really enjoy is having, this is just from a practical side of things, is having my graphic designer. I'm just like, I've got this idea. This is the program that I want to promote. This is my feeling for it. This is how I think it's going to look. I am the least graphic design minded human on the planet. I'm just so shit at it. So if I could say, like, this is what I've got in my head, and I can I've usually got, when I'm creating the programs that I create. So I'll reframe this. In my journal, like, this is the latest program the program that I've done. So in here, I've got, all right, so that's my program creation. Like, that's what I mean by program creation. It's not like, let's go and create all of the modules and the things in the worksheet. That's not what I mean, right? Because I do that as I go.
Yeah, you mean structure. Like,
yeah. I was like, all right, what do I feel like creating? Or sometimes it might just be like a lightning bolt through my brain. I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. And it's usually at 5:45 in the morning before my first group of clients, which are at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, this would be really cool. Like, what am I going to do? And I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And I can teach this, and I can teach this. And then this is really fun. And as I'm getting that down on paper, I've normally got some kind of feeling or imagery will start to sort of filter through my head with what I want to do with the branding, or how I want the sales page to look, or what I want the graphics and the posts and things to look like. And like, yeah, this is really awesome. Okay, cool. And then I'll message, I had a PA who was doing a lot of this for me for a while, and or my graphic designer. And I'll message them and I'm like, right, this is what I'm thinking. This is sort of like the imagery that was coming out. These are sort of the colors, and this is the feeling of how I want. So sometimes it's really like, one of my programs was called Queen of the Motherfucking Internet, right? That was filled with psychologists. There was only psychologists in that program. It blew my mind. It was so funny. I'm like, you guys are such rebels. Like under the radar rebels.
Yeah.
Awesome. And like when I was doing that, it was like, it has to be bright, and it's like sassy queens, and it's like, Queen of the Internet, like, you're an idiot. Like, for me myself, but because that's not how I see anything, and I know that most people don't actually want that, but we know we want visibility. So I was able to be like, okay, so this is how I want the sales page to look. It's going to be sassy and bright, and crowns, and a bit of fun. So that, for me, that support is really important. Yeah. Having someone either on my team or knowing how to build a sales page is really important. Mentors, really important. Coaches, you don't ever want to be in business without having a coach or a mentor. I just think that's almost like setting yourself up for failure. It's just like, it's business is hard, Anthea. Like, why would you want to do this on your own? It's awful. That's not, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and it's like I liken it to go, like, say you're not an entrepreneur and you're just deciding to go out into the world and not have any friends, like or guidance. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, so I think that, and I hope that answers your question. That was the full answer. There's the practical side, and then there's the in terms of like the actual launch structure and stuff like that, but then also getting through the day-to-day stuff. I think having at least one person in your world that you can have. This is probably something that I undervalued, actually. Probably up until really having it be very apparent for me. It's like, you've got to have someone in your world that you can have incredibly ongoing, open and honest conversations with about the real shit that goes on. And sometimes that is not actually a coach or a mentor, because typically what happens with coaches and mentors, they change over the years, right? Yeah. So I think having someone there, like for me, it's Joe Muirhead. So my best friend, Joe. Yeah. And
hi Joe, if you're watching.
Hi Joe. Like I'll we've been friends now since the end of 2011. There's a whole story on that. We won't talk about that today. But so we've been friends for nearly 10 years. So, I'd only been in business for 12 months or maybe a little longer, maybe 18 months before meeting her. And so the conversations that we've been able to have consistently over the last decade have been the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, everything. And I think, and with someone who gets it. So I think that is probably, I think that's almost more important, I think, than anything else. Because they will, and your person has to be the person that tells you, like, you're full of shit, stop it, or girlfriend, you've got this, or
but also, like, I've had the experience with some of my biz besties where they're like, whoa, I thought you had decided not to go that direction. And I either at that point go, oh yes, you're right, what am I doing? Or or I ferociously protect it and go, no, this is why I'm doing that. And they'll take either.
Right.
End result. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing the behind the scenes in your business. I absolutely love your business, and I love listening to the coffee run. Whenever I catch you, I'm like, oh, some more juicy stuff from Nicola. So if you haven't caught the coffee run, we're up to episode, what was it?
605 or 606 or something around this crazy today.
Definitely check Nicola out. We will come back and I will give the link to Nicola's free content plan. Was it? Is that what you call it?
Content map.
Content map. Cool. And are you in promotion of any paid offerings at the moment you want to share with us?
I am currently, well, the ongoing thing that I've been launching this past week, because I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't know why we don't have like all of the people in this. I'm doing the 6 a.m. calls. So it's called Implement Like a Boss.
Yep.
And the people that's really for people like you and I. So we're high performers. We are really good at getting lots done, but we're also probably, well, speak for myself, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I know for me, I can be very hard on myself when I get to the end of the day. Sometimes I'm like, well, I had all of this stuff to do. And it's not like I've not been busy, because I'm busy. Like I've got all of these things that haven't been done. And this is a bit of an entrepreneurial commonality.
Yeah.
So what we do is I teach my 90-day planning process. We reverse engineer it, put in place a plan for the following month, and then we get on a call at 6 a.m. and no more than half an hour for the group. So it's just very.
Yep.
We go through what you're working on, make sure you're clear on what your actions are for the day, answer any questions, and then the next day I'll say, so Anthea, you said you were going to work on your sales page yesterday. How did that go? And then you'll be like, well, this is what I did. But what's really interesting about that process, and I've been running that for years, this as well. This is my 90-day planner that has saved my ass more times than I can possibly count. Yeah. It's got that structure so that you're making sure that you're not overloading yourself, because we don't want to burn out, but you've also got that mindset of celebrating the things that you have achieved and being held accountable. And we do it for a month so that you're building that habit. So that is open at the moment.
Definitely give us the link to that one and everyone can go and check it out.
Awesome.
Sounds
Thank
absolutely
you.
beautiful.
Very kind.
Out with you every morning. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, everyone should and would. And it's very fun, but it's just very like.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure and so nice to catch up with you after stalking you online for so long.
Yes.
So thanks so much and goodbye. Any questions, pop them in the comments and Nicola or I will come back and answer them. See you later.
Bye.